The Joe Rogan Experience.
Right? And then who did Doonesbury?
That's like the political one, right?
Trudeau?
Still,
is that his name?
maybe. Yeah.
What the fuck? Who the fuck was? Is it Trudeau? Yeah. What's his first name?
Yeah, Gary.
Gary Trudeau. Isn't that right? What's the name of the guy who runs Canada? Justin. That guy.
Yeah, I never got Doonesbury. I never it was like too clever. I was like, okay, I guess they're taking down Ronald Reagan or something, but I don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Doonesbury's weird too because they pigeonholed Hunter S. Thompson and turned him into this. They had a character that they were doing. I think he wound up suing them. Yeah, there's his character. It's basically the exact same guy, just slightly different. And he was always like shooting off guns and doing a bunch of crazy shit. I forget his name. I forget the name of the guy. They gave him a different name, like Uncle something or another.
Yeah.
But that was that was Gary Trudeau's take on Hunter S. Thompson, and it wound up driving Hunter S. Thompson nuts. Is this still real? He's still doing, he's doing Trump? That's 2017.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no kidding. He's still around.
Wow. Yeah, but he created this character that was basically the most exaggerated versions of Hunter S. Thompson when Hunter S. Thompson was fucking around. And it sort of defined who Hunter S. Thompson was to a lot of people. Because instead of being this brilliant journalist who, this great writer, he also became this kind of like guy who just shoots guns and is always drunk.
Yeah.
And then you fall into that trap. I think comedians that have a persona, oftentimes fall, Dice, that's not, his real name is Andrew Silverstein, and the Dice character was a part of his act. He had a bunch of different things. He would do impressions.
I would do a Travolta impression.
Yeah. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal Travolta impression. And then the Dice Man became a part of his act, and then he just decided that's the best part, so I'm just going to do Dice all the time. And then he decided, you know what, fuck living like a regular person. It was going to be Dice all the time. So he became the guy in his act. I mean, that's who he is, most of the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Kinnison had a similar situation.
I never met Kinnison. Kinnison, he died well before I got into stand-up, but I've never met Dice. And I've always sang his praises. I think The Day the Laughter Died is one of the greatest comedy albums of all time. And I've just never met him.
He's great.
Yeah.
I'll introduce you next time I see him at the store if you're there.
I've heard great stories. He must know who I am.
Oh, for sure.
He must be aware.
Yeah. Yeah.
I once did Governors.
What if he wasn't? Will you be mad?
I wouldn't be mad. I would be surprised just because I've spoken about him publicly that if he was wondering why he sold 1,000 copies of The Day the Laughter Died after I talked about it on a podcast, he would hear that.
Yeah.
Someone says something nice about you, you find out. But I was at Governor's once, and they were all proud. They were Dice was here last weekend, and he left one of his gloves, with the fingerless gloves. And I was just give it to me. What do I have to do to take this glove home? That I still have it. I'll wear it around sometimes. It's fun.
Do you wear it and write jokes with it? Oh!
I'll walk around just doing little O's, but it's
smoking cigarettes like this.
Yeah. But yeah, love Dice.
But those characters, when guys get lumped into a character, when you get locked into that, it can be very self-defining.
Of course.
For Kinnison, I think it was very self-defining.
Oh, big time. I thought about that when I was creating my persona. It was what's going to age well? I think of a guy like Nick Swartzen, who's just party all the time, like he's a college kid forever.
Right.
It's that, how long can you do that for? You know what I mean? It's still kind of has to do it, and it's still great. But I'm are you enjoying this? I want to be able to kind of hold on to my dignity.
Who's the best version of it? Emo Phillips.
Yes.
That's the best example because it's wow. Because when he was a young, sort of cute guy, it was kind of strange to watch him do comedy like this. When you're 60, though, and you're doing that, people are hey, man, this is just weird.
Yeah.
Bobcat talked about that. That Bobcat had this moment where he stopped being Bobcat. And people are hey, man, how come you not doing the scream? He's fuck you. I'm not doing it.
He told me the best story ever. He said he's at a Comedy Works in Denver doing a weekend, and he's eating shit every show. And every show he's just bombing, and everyone's going, do the voice. do the voice. And he's like, no, I'm not. I don't do the voice anymore. I'm not doing the voice. Late show Saturday, someone in the back yells, we're from Aurora. Do the voice for us. And he goes, oh, you're from Aurora? At least you learned to sit in the back. And he said, and this is like a year after
the shootings in the movie theater?
Yes, a year after that. And he said the entire audience just pretended he didn't say it. They didn't boo. They didn't laugh. They just acted like nothing had happened. And he did the rest of the show. And he said it made the whole weekend worth it for him.
Just to say that.
Just to say that.